podcast is brought to you by Comixology.com. Are you in desperate need of a superhero fix? We can help you out. Go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and you can get access to Comixology Unlimited free for 30 days. And you can get access to Batman and Wonder Woman and Black Widow and Spider-Man and all these great comic book movies that are supposed to be coming out that have been pushed back. So go to infamouspodcast.com/Comixology and start your free 30-day trial to Comixology Unlimited today. Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
It's not Matthew McConaughey. This is Darryl.
And Darryl's, I'm looking right at him this week. He's not on the phone. This is our first live in the revamped Nerd Den studio.
Yeah, and it is quite spectacular. It's real and it's spectacular.
So if anyone needs me to hire me to do shelves for their collectibles, I'm your guy.
Yeah, man, this place, this desk you have is amazing.
Well, when we talked about it a couple weeks ago, this is the favorite thing I've bought all year.
Man.
So,
yeah, it's...
even more than my Russian mail-order bride.
Wow, that's impressive, then.
Anyway, lots of stuff to talk about this week. We have a new episode of The Mandalorian, the Heiress. We got a follow-up on the Johnny Depp story from last week. Some Wonder Woman 1984 news. WandaVision news. Which the article that I have in the show notes kind of looks at it as a pseudo bad thing. I don't necessarily. And then this book is coming out, and George Lucas dropped some Death Star sized bombs about what his sequel trilogy was going to be.
It makes me sad,
right? So we're gonna get into that, and then we'll close out with the Mandalorian chapter. 11?
Yes.
Review. So anyway, Darryl, moving on to Johnny Depp.
Yeah. So the article is from Bounding Into Comics. So a news report claims that Warner Brothers will still be paying Johnny Depp for the third Untitled Fantastic Beasts film, despite the actor resigning from the film upon the request of the studio.
So do we want to say he resigned? Because he was fired.
Yeah.
This is a semantical argument. Well, we asked him to resign. No, you fired his ass because of...
You were going to let him go anyway.
Yeah. Just kind of looking through this, the whole thing is just kind of gross. With the way Warner Brothers is treating their stars with varying degrees of tolerance.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that a good way to put it?
And fairness.
Yeah. So, Johnny Depp has been accused of domestic abuse by Amber Heard. And he has countersued, and he's sued for defamation and to the Sun in England, in Britain. And then he is, currently embroiled in a lawsuit, I think with the LA Times. Or is it the Washington Post? I don't remember. It's one of those two. Yeah. But so he's embroiled in one here as well. But we talked about this already. So many people came to his defense, and Amber Heard has a history of beating up, allegedly beating up exes, both men and women, because she's an equal opportunity dater and marrier, and more power to her. There's zero judgment there. But the thing is this, she seems like she's kind of an asshole.
Yeah. And I remember when, even before all this stuff came out, a couple of my buddies were talking about, yeah, she's hot, but she's kind of crazy looking.
Well, it's like I told you, I did not think she was very good as Mira.
I don't know.
She's the weak link in Aquaman, which is not, it's just underwater Black Panther. Mm-hmm. But she's very aesthetically pleasing. Yes. I do enjoy, watching her, it's just...
But it's not like I've seen her in a lot of stuff. But
she was in this movie with Nicolas Cage called Drive Angry, where he was the demon or she was the demon.
I never saw that movie.
It was really bad. I put that as like, it's a car movie, right? It's on the level with The Rock's Faster, which is probably the worst car movie, quote unquote, ever. And that is the most boring movie. I have a version of it, and if I need to fall asleep, I put it on. I'm not kidding. I mean, it is so bad.
See, for me, that would be Fast and Furious 2. With the CG cars everywhere.
What?
I can't watch it.
That's the first one I ever saw, right? I didn't see the Fast and the Furious until after Fast 4.
So you were like, oh, I guess I need to go
I
back
wasn't
and
sure
watch
what was going on between Dom and Brian there. So I went back and watched it. I was like, oh, this makes so much more sense. And from that point on is when I was like really all in. Actually, I'm not even gonna lie. I was all in on the franchise with Too Fast, Too Furious, which is horrible. It's a horrible movie.
But just think of that first one and how grounded it was for the most part.
Oh, absolutely. And just where it's gone from there. Yeah. I think like I love the first one. I really do. I love Tokyo Drift.
That's one of those I didn't like when I first saw it, and then I watched it a couple more times.
I really like Lucas Black.
Yes.
He was on that show American Gothic when he was a little kid, and he was great. And so when I heard he was in that, that's when I was like super excited. The other thing is Too Fast, Too Furious. I saw it for the first time ever on like USA, so it was like cut to hell. So, but anyway, yeah. So no, but back to Johnny Depp. I wish Warner's would offer him like the same kind of like grace that they're giving Ezra Miller, who has video proof of him beating up a woman in the street.
And they've just tried to keep that quiet.
Right. The same grace that they've given Joss Whedon by not like nailing his ass to the wall for all the stuff that's come out with the way he treated Ray Fisher. And the fact that Jason Momoa finally stepped up for that, I think is really cool.
Right.
But yeah, so good on Johnny Depp for getting paid. I saw they're replacing him in Pirates with Margot Robbie.
Yes.
So, I'm not really interested in seeing a Margot Robbie pirate movie, but I'm not going to leverage any hate towards her for this. No one should. Like,
no.
She's not doing, she did not steal a job from Johnny Depp. It was, they're going with a very bankable star.
Right.
Good on them. That's what they should do.
That's fine.
She's a good actress.
Yeah, I really like Robbie.
She was. Did you see Whiskey Foxtrot Tango?
Yes.
With her and Tina Fey.
Yeah,
that's my favorite Margot Robbie movie, hands down.
I really like that
she's
movie.
That is my favorite I've ever seen her. I want to watch that one, Bombshells. I think that might have hit HBO Max or maybe not,
or it might be on the way.
Yeah, something. Maybe. But I really want to watch that one because I like Nicole Kidman as well. So
yeah. But back to the whole Warner's thing, and we've joked about it for quite a while. It's like a team of monkeys that are just like throwing shit at the dartboard. Seriously.
I mean, they just laid a whole bunch of more people off too.
Yeah. So and again, this goes beyond this. It just goes how HBO Max was, put out like the whole Justice League debacle.
Yeah.
Not Justice League. I was just say the whole DCEU thing.
Yeah.
Just
100%.
They just don't know what they're doing.
100% agree.
So.
All right. So let's stick with that vein and move on to Wonder Woman. 1984. Wonder Woman 1984.
It's gonna be out in 2024 probably.
It's gonna come out in 2084. They're like, a century ago this movie was made in 2019. Yeah, so they're talking about delaying it to summer 2021 or releasing it in January on HBO Max. All right, I have arguments for both. So to wait until 2021, hopefully things will be more open and we can go to the movies. And this is definitely one you need to go see in the theater. It just is. So there's my argument for that. My argument against that is HBO Max is not performing the way they want it to. It's not bringing in subscribers like Disney Plus did, like even the Peacock, did. And so releasing this in January will be a huge boom for them. Huge. And I kind of want to watch it now. I don't want to wait. Just to be 100% honest. And I also think this will show this is something that they can do to be like, look, we're just going to start putting out content on our streamers. We have all of our own branded streaming services at this point. We're going to put this stuff out now so people can watch it. And then when things open up, we'll have a fresh slate of movies. We've got movies that are in production. You know, that way we're not going to have to wait until 2026 for something being shot today.
Right. So in that, I'm torn with this. And the reasoning is, well, let's go with the HBO Max part. I 100%, I don't keep up with the actual statistics of it or anything like that, but HBO Max, they don't have anything that like makes, again, if I say I'm a new subscriber, why am I going to subscribe to HBO
Say you're
Max?
not on my family plan for HBO
right.
Max. Yeah, no, you're right. And, honestly, the kid, she watches it more than I do because at first it had all the Harry Potter stuff, but that's somewhere else right now. But she's been making her way through, like, the DC animated stuff and like, she's back to rewatching Young Justice right now. And then that movie Witches, which, did you see that got a whole bunch of backlash for body not dysmorphia,
no,
body disfiguration.
Right.
Anyway. Anyway, no, HBO Max 100% needs to put this out. Like, HBO Now was doing okay when it was just the prestige, like, HBO stuff. HBO Max hasn't put out anything. Like that Coastal Elites, like, Zoom call show,
What,
like,
I don't even...
It's just a bunch of, like, people, like, talking about media and stuff. I don't know if it's supposed to be satirical or what. It was dumb. Like, I couldn't even finish it. I don't think any of the originals they've put out lately are, like, they're definitely not to the level of Succession or Euphoria or High Maintenance even. So, yeah, like, I feel like they did not launch with a plan of, like, we have this groundbreaking content. They launched with the idea that we're going to give you guys the Snyder Cut in 8 to 12 months.
Right. And this is the other thing. This movie was supposed to come out when didn't you say it was supposed to come out at the end of last?
I think at the end of 2019.
So
I thought it was supposed to be like November, December then, and then it got pushed back. I don't know if it was like for reshoots or what.
Now,
or if it was to avoid the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah. So I get the fact that when it ramps up, if they do release it in the summer,
yeah,
they're gonna have the advertising marketing buzz. It's still, and again, taking out the fact that there is the whole pandemic thing. Like when you have a movie like this that's supposed to come out a year ago, I think there's going to be people that are going to lose interest.
There's not going to be a marketing buzz because all of their stuff hit the shelves 4 months ago.
Oh yeah,
all of those toys are on clearance. All of those Ziploc bags have moved on to something else. All of those chip bags have moved on to whatever's next. So they're not going to do anymore.
Which that makes sense why the Dune Pops that were supposed to come out this year. I mean, the figures still came out.
Dude, those McFarlane figures are so sweet.
Mine are coming, I think, next week. But like the Pop figures got pushed back to October.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? But that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would like them to do, and again, I don't know if it makes financial sense or not, is maybe leave the Christmas date and keep it out in the theaters for a few weeks, but release it on HBO Max.
So I think if they put it in the theaters, though, they have to wait 90 days.
Oh, okay. See that?
So,
I forgot because there's contractual things for that.
I say just put it on Max.
So
like honestly, just put it on HBO Max. Get the boon of subscribers. Hopefully, it's in time for something like season 2 of Euphoria or something like interesting to kind of hit the service again, and go from there. I guess the one good thing that we watched was The Vow, the thing about the Nexium cult with Allison Mack. So
I haven't watched that yet.
It's really interesting. They're doing a second season of it, that's done well. But like, I don't know. I think there's just this is the chance to fundamentally change how movies are presented. And I'm sorry, my 4K TV. And be able to sit on my couch and pause it and pop popcorn or go get a different drink of water or take a bio break. That's a much better experience right now anyway than going to a movie theater with substandard screens, substandard projectors, having to take out financial aid to buy anything from the snack bar, because I don't really like. I mean, I do it from time to time where I'll smuggle in a snack or two. Like, I always smuggle in drinks because I only
Brian Solo.
I drink water, but right. So, well, I learned how to smuggle stuff into places like when I was a little kid. I went to a Giants Jets preseason game at the Meadowlands with my uncle, and it was cold. It was like the end of the preseason was the last game, and it was really cold. So I had like a big coat on, and I also had probably like 16 bottles of beer in my coat. Like, I clinked when I walked. So, you know, they started me young. I started muling alcohol into sporting events when I was a kid. Fast forward, my buddy and I would mule vodka into the Derby. We would take a cooler and we'd go to Kroger and buy like 40 vodka that like is barely alcohol. Put some ice in, fill it up with vodka, so it looked like the ice had melted a little bit to keep the vodka nice and cold. Put bottles of fruit juice in there, stick a sleeve of Red Solo cups, and then when we get there, we'd mount it and, you know, use the spout to pour out ice cold vodka and then mix it with juice, and, you know, there you go.
I did that with
my buddy Donnie thought of that. Donnie was the dumbest person I ever knew.
So
and he came up with
what
that
we
idea.
used to do back in the day is to go into Reds games, and putting in the iced tea.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So hey, we have iced tea.
Anyway, but back to Wonder Woman. We've kind of gone off on a tangent. I think they do it. I think they go with Max right now, put it out, let everybody see it. If they want to do a theatrical run later in the year to get like qualified for any award seasons or anything like that, I think they do that.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem again, it's just they need to do something. They need to stop holding these movies back.
Yeah. Although, how great would it be for Wonder Woman to win like the best like limited series, mini series, special event like Emmy award?
That would be awesome.
Patty Jenkins, best director in a limited series event.
Because and again, like you said, movies like this are designed to see in a theater.
They are. They absolutely
4K
are.
TV is great, but there's nothing like seeing the right movie with the crowd. Which again, the whole crowd thing we're not going to be seeing for a while.
Right.
But yeah, this is just it just sucks.
Yeah.
And it's because there's been a precedent set this year where they've been pushing stuff back. So,
and in the article, if you see, they talk specifically about Tenet, right? And how Tenet failed. I want to reiterate, Tenet was never going to make $1 billion.
No,
Tenet was not a tentpole movie that was the masses wanted to see. Christopher Nolan has this huge reputation as this master filmmaker, and he has a very acquired taste.
Yeah. Oh, there are a lot of people that don't like his movies.
Like, I'm not a fan. Like, I like a few of Nolan's movies, but overall, I'm not a huge Nolan fan. I did not like the Nolan Batman stuff. I don't think he understood the character. I think when he does his own stuff like Interstellar and things like that, and I enjoyed Tenet. Like, you know, you can go back and listen to our review of it. Like, I enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed it partially because I got to go to see it in the theater.
Yeah, and
I mean, the New Mutants had that same thing. Because the more I think about New Mutants, the only thing I like about it was Anna Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, and I like the second half of that movie. The first half of that movie, you were talking about going to sleep.
Yeah,
I could play that and go to sleep.
Right.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, but then it's gonna hit the second half, and you're like, oh, I'm up, and I'm watching, and I'm like, damn it, now I need to go back to sleep, but I'm pumped up because of Lockheed. So, yeah, I don't know what they should do. I personally think they should put it on Max, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Because I know if this was a few months ago, I'd say definitely put it out in theaters. But now, like I said, there's that precedent set, and it's just
well. And, you know, we're not getting political here, but depending on the outcome of the election, there's going to be a 6 to 8 week lockdown potentially. And, you know, it's going to push again, everything back and, you know, do whatever it does to the economy. We may not be able to afford to go to the movies.
Right.
So,
and again, I don't know. And there's probably some states where, again, I haven't kept up with certain states as far as if some theaters are actually even open.
I have
in
no
all
idea.
states.
I mean, I know starting on Monday, Chicago's going, or Chicago. I don't know if the whole state of Illinois, but Chicago's going back into a lockdown on Monday. So anyway, let's move on to better things.
Well, sort of.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
So we finally got the release date announcement. They had said it was the end of 2020. So spoilers. It's going to come out on Disney Plus on January 15th, 2021. So they're missing it by 2 weeks.
Yeah. Like the whole you're not going to like it.
Yeah, so Collider. So I pulled this from Collider, and it says WandaVision release date announced. You're not going to like it. And then their lead sentence. Well, this is disappointing, but hey, 2020 giveth and 2020 taketh away. I just gave the piece of paper the finger. I think waiting until then is smart because The Expanse is going to be in high gear right around that time. And I feel like they're doing a good job, these networks, of like spacing their stuff out.
Right.
Because it's more fun to be able to talk about this stuff like independently of them and not have to like talk about everything all at once or not talk about certain things.
Right.
So, this is good for the Zoom cooler conversations at work. Like
Zoom cooler.
Yeah, right. I just penned that so you guys can use that. But yeah, so there's a bunch of pictures. There's like that were released. There's the link in the show notes. Some cool Catherine Hahn stuff. Great stuff with Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. So yeah, I'm kind of excited. There's also so the show's going to be 6 installments. It's taking its cues from Tom King, his recent Vision comic book series. Also, but Randall Park is going to show back up with his FBI agent from Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was great. Kat Denning from Thor is coming back as Darcy. And is it
Teyonah Parris?
Teyonah Parris, thank you. The grown version of Monica Rambeau from Captain Marvel will be in there. And this is all going to tie directly into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is currently slated for March 25th, 2022. So, like, to be honest, like, if they waited until December 2021 for this, that would not be a problem for me since it's tied into a movie that's not going to come out for almost 2 years or almost over a year.
Right.
A year and a half. So
at this moment.
Yeah, at this moment. So I'm excited for WandaVision. I like Wanda Maximoff in the MCU. I think Elizabeth Olsen was a great addition to the group. And I really liked what little chemistry we got to see with her and Vision in Civil War.
Yeah.
Was
mostly
really
in Infinity War. Like the Civil War stuff, they had a couple scenes, but Infinity War, well, obviously over that 2-year span, I just watched it again. But, I love her. I mean, at first I like her just as an actress.
Right.
Overall. And
you really like her in Old Boy, though.
That's still so weird, that movie. It's good.
Did you ever watch the original Korean version?
Oh, that was the first one I watched several years ago.
So
such a oh my goodness.
They're both really good though.
But
she's really, really good in that movie.
Yeah.
And so is Thanos.
Which is kind of funny. Yeah. Josh Brolin, yeah. But they're acting like you said, the whole December 2021 thing. Yeah. They're acting as if they're moving it back to that.
Right.
And it's so what, 2 weeks?
Like even if they said they were moving it back to that, I don't think I'd have a problem. I would. So, I mean, I want to see it, but it's only 6 episodes.
But I will say this at the same time. I haven't watched a lot about this. I haven't read a lot about it. So my anticipation for it is muted because
I've seen the preview and the 6 pictures that they put into this post. And that's all I've.
Yeah. So, I've seen the pops. That's it. Which I already have pre-ordered, by the way.
So Darryl is a pop addict now?
A pop hit.
A pop head. You're a pop addict.
A pop exclamation point hit.
Pop exclamation point addict exclamation point. Darryl's gonna be on the street one day,
Would you like a pop, man?
Panhandling. Need money for pops.
Got the Chase Black Panther one. Which, by the way, did I tell you I have the Killmonger Chase, and I got that from like when I first started a couple years ago. I got it for like $10.
Oh wow.
You like half price books?
You found? Oh, okay.
Yeah, didn't even realize I had until I was rearranging stuff a couple weeks ago and said, "Oh, I have a Chase." So
I have a couple Chases. So, not many, but and I don't have any of them out. They're all stored away in darkness and secrecy. All right. So WandaVision 2015 or January 15th, 2021. It's not the best news, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not disappointed.
Yeah,
by that at all.
Honestly, this is not a big deal, really.
So, all right. So moving on to our last topic. So this is an article from Polygon, and there is a new book coming out. It's called The Star Wars Archives 1999 to 2005, which is a companion to the 1977 to 1983 edition, and it covers the makings of Lucas's infamous prequel trilogy. And so this article goes into everything, and then it goes into the sequel. And the sequel was supposed to be the return of Darth Maul. So they were going to build on what happened in Clone Wars, and Darth Maul was going to have consolidated the criminal underworld after the fall of the Empire, and he was going to be the new big bad in the verse, to use some Joss Whedon terminology there. Going through this, like, this sounds amazing. Like what they had planned for Leia was so much better than what they did in the Disney trilogy. What they did for Luke actually had Luke grow as a character, and then the whole idea of the Republic and the dark areas the Republic created by usurping the Empire without a real plan of how to govern. I think it is really interesting, and they're going to get more into the wills, which I enjoy. So yeah, it's
reading this made me kind of sad.
Yeah. So we were gonna, the other thing was we were going to get Darth Vader had a secret apprentice,
right,
from the Legends, the EU, which was going to be Darth Talon, the smoking hot Twi'lek Sith Lord. And yeah, that would have been amazing, because like, did you read any of the comics with her?
No, I did not.
So Dark Horse has like a couple different series with her in it. She was not Vader's apprentice per se in the comics, and I'm kind of like not remembering everything clearly because it's been forever since I've read them, and I'd have to go dig them out of the
darkness of storage.
Darkness of storage. But I think that's great, and Leia, like, it says in here, like, Leia was going to be the one that actually did bring balance. She was going to be she would have still been the chosen one, but she would have done it through diplomacy and politics and everything that Bail had trained her to be.
This actually, again, the biggest issue with the Disney trilogies is they had no plan.
None whatsoever. Well, they did have a plan. It was the Force is female, and your identity politics are going to be what's important in a Star Wars universe, not the story.
Or they did what Captain Cole did. Part of the plan is throw out the plan.
That's true too. So they had 11% of a plan.
It's barely even a concept. But.
What about the minutia?
But yeah, first of all, one thing I did love about the Clone Wars, and which, again, I wasn't as into it as you were, but I loved how they brought Darth Maul back. Yeah, because the way they used him in the Phantom Menace. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Wait, did you say the Phantom or the fandom?
I said Phantom.
Okay, because there's two very different things: the Phantom Menace and the Phantom Menace. And I think the way we're talking about this right now, people may think we're part of the Fandom Menace, and that's not necessarily true.
But I always thought about that. When I went to see that, I got disappointed. It was almost like, spoilers, in Infinity War, which, again, that's 2 years old.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Thor hit Thanos with the axe, I got disappointed because I didn't think they were going to take that step that they actually did.
Right.
So that was, to be able to bring him back in this role, if they would have done that, all this strife and toxicity that in the Star Wars fandom that we have, there are going to be people that wouldn't like it.
Right.
That's with anything. But the fact that they had a plan, and that Lucas had a plan, I should say, with this, as long as he didn't write it and direct it.
No, he could have written it. Like he should always be the story writer, the person who writes the story, and then someone else can do the screenplay and someone else can direct it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean.
So
that's exactly what I mean. Yeah,
I mean, look at Empire.
Exactly.
That is the blueprint for how the rest of Star Wars should have gone.
And to give him credit, I think if he would have done the same thing with the prequels, I would have felt a lot differently than I do now with the prequels.
So Dark Horse put out a series called The Star Wars, and it's the first. It's not the first draft, but it's an early draft of Star Wars, and it's really fun to read, and it's beautiful because it's Ralph McQuarrie's concept art. But you sit there and you read it, and you're like, "Oh my God, there never would have been more than one movie if this is what he did." Like there weren't the prequels didn't have anyone telling him no. Mm-hmm. It was like a bunch of sycophants and yes men and women like, oh, that's a great idea, George. Let's go make $1 billion. Instead of, that's a great idea, George. Let's do something really awesome and make $40 billion. So it was just kind of greed and things like that. Not by George. Yeah. But yeah, so I think everything in here is you guys just there's the link in there. Definitely go check it out. I love the idea that Maul eventually becomes the godfather of crime in the universe because as the Empire falls, he takes over, and that Talon was the Vader of this trilogy. And so we know where Solo got the idea from. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, yeah, it's really interesting. They had talked about Luke forming a new generation of Jedi from the survivors of Order 66. So like 50 to 60 Jedi who had survived and out of the tens of thousands.
So you mean he didn't go on a planet to die and be alone?
No, he didn't.
From his guilt.
He didn't go be alone with his sadness. So he didn't take a little me-cation where he kind of went out and like just did his thing, drank his green milk.
Yeah, he didn't go emo. Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
Anyway, but this is an actual story, and so to compare this to what we're going to talk about next with the Mandalorian has a plan. Mm-hmm. There is you can very clearly see from like you didn't quite see it maybe in the pilot or the first couple episodes, but there's a plan, and the plan is to reunite the child with its people.
Yeah, and let me just say that I know people think, hindsight and all this stuff. Just because you have a plan doesn't mean everything's going to work out.
Right. Or that you follow that plan.
Yeah, the prequel trilogies. You could definitely see the plan.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
It doesn't mean it works out. However, more often than not, especially when you're talking about entertainment vehicles such as this, when you don't have a plan, it shows quite obviously. Look at I was about to say Phantom Menace, but look at... The Force Awakens, and then go to The Last Jedi. You can tell right away there was no on-set plan for the trilogy.
They're not even the same characters.
No, not at all.
And then when you go back to The Rise of Skywalker, they're not even the same characters again. They didn't take anything that they learned from The Last Jedi and carry that over. They didn't take anything that they built as the foundation from The Force Awakens and carry that over. And, the whole thing with it's the Resistance now. It was the dumbest idea. It was just a retread. It was just a lazy money grab. And I still enjoy watching The Force Awakens.
I do too.
I really do.
Absolutely.
The other two,
I still haven't watched
moments.
I still haven't watched The Rise of Skywalker since it came to video.
So,
Last Jedi, again, that's one of those, the more I watch, the less I like.
Yeah.
Although there are parts of it that I really enjoy.
I mean, it's like Endgame, where it's just a spot fest.
Yeah.
But there's just really cool spots that you cheer for. Like Endgame is Infinity War is the superior movie to Endgame.
Yes.
100%. Story-wise, everything-wise.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something that I kind of want to dig into a little bit, the toxicity of the fan base. So everyone keeps talking about like the male fans and the toxicity of the male fans for Star Wars. And after last week's Mandalorian episode, where, we jokingly were saying Baby Yoda's a monster,
right.
But we were in jest.
Yes.
Right? Dude, did you I know you're not on Twitter, but there are people on Twitter losing their minds
I've seen some
about
of the tweets.
this.
Yeah.
And even people within the Star Wars story group are losing their minds about this, calling it a genocide. So they took the time to say these are unfertilized eggs. So yes, there's very few of them, so they're a delicacy.
Right.
Right? And and then they're cancel Baby Yoda. We have no idea how sentient Baby Yoda is, how quickly that species matures. Just because it's 50 doesn't mean it's a 50-year-old human.
So if a 2-year-old ate the last grasshopper, are you going to cancel the 2-year-old?
Oh, you bring him to the town square and you string them up. I mean,
tar and feather.
Yeah, that's after you string them up, and then you bring them to the Forged in Fire show and they do the kill test on it. No, it's just the whole thing. One person is oh, it offends me because of my ordeal with in vitro fertilization. And it's you know what? I'm sorry they have to go through that. I really am.
Right.
But that wasn't an attack on you. Jon Favreau wasn't sitting there going mwah, mwah.
And look, if this is the thing, if you are looking for something to be offended by, you're going to find it in everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
I'm offended by the fact that you don't hang dry that shirt, and I can tell by the neck.
I actually did hang dry it. You know what it was? I had it because I had it on yesterday.
I'm teasing.
No, it's funny because I had it on yesterday. When I to come over here, and then when I got home, I took it off and just threw it across.
It's
the
funny.
couch.
You're that guy. You're wearing the name of the podcast that you're on.
Yeah, sir.
I normally. I mean, I have 7 podcast shirts at this point. I'm wearing my Nightwing shirt.
I was about to say you're wearing your Nightwing. You wear that to bed, don't you?
No.
Yeah, you do.
No, but I do have 2 of them because I got a grease stain on the other one, so I might wear that one to bed. But no, it's just one of those things where people are so eager to get offended, and and then they turn around and they call it toxic masculinity or the fandom menace. And here's the thing: if you don't like it,
don't watch it.
Don't watch it. If you're offended by it, stop watching. Just because you don't like it and because you didn't get the joke, and you have a personal tragedy in your life that it might be too soon for, I apologize to you that you've had to go through that. Or let me rephrase that. I don't apologize. I feel for you. And as a human being, I'm sympathetic for what you've gone through.
I would say this, and again, this shows my nerdness in a way, or my geekness, whatever you want to say. So I'm reading or listening on Audible, The Practicing Stoic.
Okay.
So I was listening to that on my 1,000-mile journey up here.
Beyond the wall. You came north of the wall. So we need Darryl to move north of the wall so he can come in more often.
Yeah, he said that. You said that 3 times already today. You need to move
I think
to
that might
Ohio.
have been the 8th time I've said it. I mean, Ohio is just superior. I'm going to offend a lot of people, but Ohio is superior to Kentucky in every way.
Yeah.
Every way. I mean, it's superior to Michigan. It's superior to Indiana. It's superior to Pennsylvania.
Oh, I almost said something about
definitely
Michigan.
superior to West Virginia. So, and Illinois. So all the little states that border around us, we are the heart of it all.
It actually has a weird shaping.
It's shaped
heart.
like a heart.
Yeah.
That's why it's called the heart of it all.
Yes.
But and it's you can argue it's the best state in the union, but we can talk about that on another
but
time.
they have Ohio. It has Ohio State though.
We do that so that we can kind of be brought down a little bit to everybody else's level.
But to the point of the practicing Stoic, it's
yeah.
To summarize and it's funny. I was just listening to the chapter on anger and how we react to things, and I think I've said this before, but and this wasn't from the book, but I've heard it before. It's try hard not to offend, try harder not to be offended.
Yeah,
it's that simple. It's don't live life in just focused on your emotional response. Yeah, you're gonna have an emotional response and stuff. Doesn't mean you let it drive you, and
right.
too often people do.
Yeah. So it's a fictional puppet that was eating fictional gelatinous orbs. Mm-hmm. That I think were mostly CG anyway when he was actually eating them. And the little final cut where he had that last little midnight snack was hilarious.
Oh,
it
absolutely.
was hilarious. And again, if you're offended by it and you're writing, I forget who it was, some writer person who used to be attached to Star Wars, she had a 24 tweet diatribe going back at Pablo Hidalgo, who, needs to move on from the story group anyway. About like just bitching about this, just complaining about this, just like, this and that. And her solution to all of this is that Star Wars needs more women. And Pablo came back at her, and I think it might have been Pablo. I don't remember who came back at her, but like listed all of the people who are like, so from Kathleen Kennedy down, as far as like executive producer level people go, and it's mostly women, if you watch the credits. And so, but her thing was, well, great, there are women, but we need more women writing it. And it's like, the reason The Mandalorian is so good is because Jon Favreau writes every episode.
Yes.
It's one cohesive voice.
Going back to the plan we were talking about.
There is a plan, and, there is a writer's room, I'm sure. And, but Jon Favreau is the story guy. He's got Dave Filoni as like the canon guy to make sure that they can do things. Which I actually kind of...
And Wolf.
Yeah. I missed that. So in the Marshall, when the miner shot Boba Fett or shot Cobb Vanth, the blaster should not have dinged off of it like that, because in actual canon, Boba and Jango Fett's armor was Durasteel, not Beskar. So they've made like a huge change to things, and Lucas went out of his way to make sure that it was known that Jango wasn't a Mandalorian, and by extension Boba. So was like, is it going to be that Boba was a foundling and now it's actually Beskar and they're going to make a change to canon again? I don't know. It's interesting. So I don't know. Anyway, but as far as all of like the toxic fandom, it's this kind of stuff. That's the toxicity. It's people can't just enjoy it and let other people enjoy it.
Right.
And it's not just like these people who are upset about the eggs. It's the people who are upset about Rey, who call Rey a Mary Sue, who are upset about Rose and the misuse of Kelly Tran as an actor, who she's very likable. And Rose should have been a much better character. If Rian Johnson was as good as his job as he thought he is,
halfway competent,
Rose would have been a character people would have loved, and
absolutely,
and young girls could have looked up to her as an engineer and not a hall monitor.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about the Heiress.
Yeah, let's get to the good stuff, the positive stuff.
All right, so I just got to say, my girl, the champ is here.
The champion.
The champ is here. Sasha Banks, Mercedes. I don't even know how to pronounce her last name. Visetto.
So that's her real name.
Yeah, that's her real name. She crushed it. I was so excited. I was a little sad that she wasn't Sabine, but at the same time, she's a true blue Mandalorian. Her character was named Koska Reeves, so not Sabine Wren.
Now, was that one of the rumors that she could have been playing?
Yeah, there was a rumor. I mean, I think part of it was because she's kind of looks like the cartoon version of Sabine, and she has like blue and purple hair. So, but yeah. So this one is interesting, right? So the only summary is the Mandalorian braves high seas and meets unexpected allies.
Yes.
Could it be more vague?
Yeah.
So
you could also put high seas in parentheses, caught into his own stupidity.
So, all right. So let's just start from the beginning of the episode. Mando's flying into Trask, and he's asleep. Why is he always asleep?
Asleep at the wheel. He's literally asleep at the wheel.
He sleeps at that cockpit, and it's constantly the wah 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 wah. It's like, maybe if you were awake, you would never have to hear that sound. Like, why do you sleep so much?
And it was tough watching the Razor Crest. That thing.
Poor Razor Crest, right? Like, the Razor Crest is kind of a character. It's not like the Falcon, right? It's not like a full on character, but it's definitely pivotal to the show. Having to go in manually and watching it just kind of like deteriorate as it's going down. And oh yeah, by the way, spoilers.
Yes. Spoilers.
Because we can't. I mean, so we literally changed our recording schedule so we can talk about these. So we're gonna spoil it. Anyway, as it's going down, coming in, like, because I did wonder, like, how did it get out of the gravity from the ice planet? and not burn up?
With everything going on with it.
Well, I mean, the back hatch was open.
Yeah.
There was a gaping hole. Like, if the only thing that was pressurized was the cockpit, that leaves everything else to just burn up.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Just suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, this is not The Expanse.
Right. Yeah, right. That's going to be interesting to see if they do that this season.
Right.
But yeah, so then he lands. I guess land might be a really like broad way of looking at what he did. He launchpad McQuacked this thing. He 100% launchpad McQuacked it. He came down. It actually hit the landing pad, but then fell into the ocean. And what a cool use of a former
the AT crane,
right?
Yeah, and with the sound and everything.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was a really cool visual. And then that grifter dock worker who told him, "Yeah, I can work it. I can fix it." And he's like, "I'll start by putting fuel in it if it holds fuel."
And I love that part with him watching Mando try to land.
Oh, and just shaking his head.
And then when he goes into the water, he's just like, "Oh, geez, another one." It's like he was like, "Another one."
Yep, another one, another goddamn Mandalorian. So then the Frog Lady and Frog Man are reunited. And he quickly got to business of fertilizing the eggs.
Yeah. I mean, they did not play around.
I mean, before he took off on his adventure, there was a baby Frog Lady. So there you go, people. The species is safe.
Yes. It was.
But if they're the last two, is like incest a problem? Like to perpetrate the species? Because, like, well, I mean, really, if they're the last two, aren't they just kind of like delaying the inevitable?
Well, I mean, they just got to be fruitful and multiply. And,
yeah,
and whatever comes to pass comes to pass.
However that works.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it's an egg and you're just fertilizing, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm not a frog person biologist, so I'm not a xenobiologist. If any stretch of the imagination to understand alien physiology, but no, that was cute, and I did like how Baby Yoda was like, "Oh, hey, look, it's an actual baby. Hi, hi, baby. Do the magic hand, baby." But yeah, so they go and he's looking for information. They go to a diner. I guess that's what you would call it, right? A cafeteria. Something.
A dive.
Yeah, a dive. And he orders a bowl of chowder for the kid that tries to attack him. That tries to attack the child.
That's some aggressive food right there.
I mean, that's right up the child's alley. That's the type of food he needs to be eating, right?
Yeah.
I did see a funny thing about the reason Yoda was on Dagobah wasn't because of the dark side energy to mask him. It was because it was a smorgasbord for their kind.
Now all that's making sense right now.
It makes so much sense. But so I love it. The guy's like, "Well, you can't just sit here. The seats are at a premium." He's like, "Well, I want info." So he tells him where to go. He then takes the kid with him. Right? He takes the kid with him with essentially pirates.
Okay.
Like,
look, you're a Mandalorian, right? And I know he said, the kid goes where I go.
Yeah.
But obviously he changes that
later on.
He has
a built-in babysitter.
Yeah.
On this planet that he knows no one.
So I understand his need to find his kind. I understand that. However, just take a little bit more caution, dude. I know it's a story, but just from a standpoint of this guy who's been around for, the underbelly of being a bounty hunter and stuff.
Yeah.
He trusts people all.
He's the most trusting bounty hunter I've ever seen.
Right. I don't get it.
So he's like, "Hey, can you help me? Yeah, let me get you in this enclosed captive environment of a boat, and I'll take you. I'll take you out where there are people." So they get to the middle of the ocean, and they ask if you ever seen. I forget the name of the creature.
Yeah, I know.
They're like, "Have you ever watched a sea creature eat?" And he's like, "It's very interesting. The child will definitely like it." I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna feed. They're gonna try and feed these two to this whatever this creature is." So they dump a bunch of fish in. The thing bubbles up, and then the guy like just shoots the pram into the middle of the hold.
The first thing I saw was, okay, if I'm walking with a kid, I keep the kid away from the street.
Right.
If I'm Boba Fett, I keep the kid. I don't keep him between me and a guy I don't even know.
Din Djarin?
Yeah.
Not Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, yeah.
I mean, Boba Fett would have done the same thing too, let's be honest. He was an idiot as well.
Anyway, but if I'm the Mando,
No, he's humping around on
he's
Tatooine without water or a hat.
doing whatever.
He's gonna get so sunburned. So,
but yeah, it's just his lack of caution as a character is. I know this seems like nitpicking, but it's
I don't
not.
think it
it's
is.
Not.
It's a character flaw. At
right.
This point.
It's a major character flaw.
So,
but
and he doesn't learn.
No, we'll get into that in a minute.
He's such an idiot. So yeah, so they throw the child in the pram into the pit there, and I love how the sandworm, the water worm looking thing comes up and like the mouth and closes around it, and he's like boop and closes the lid just at the last second. I thought that was pretty cool. But then he dives in. After he watched them open this gate, he dives in instead of just killing every one of them and then diving in. So that happens. So he dives in, they close the gate, and they're trying to stab him, and he's about to die. The Mandalorian is about to die. Remember from Gauntlet?
Yeah.
So then like some actual Mandalorians show up,
and that was I love that intro scene.
Or they fly in, they do their Mandalorian thing. It's very reminiscent of Clone Wars because it's Clone War era Mandalorians. And they save the day. They help him out. Sasha Banks goes in and saves the kid. Bring him out, and then they start talking, and Katee Sackhoff's like, "We got you, brother," because it's her voice,
right?
And so then she takes the helmet off and reveals it's Bo-Katan, and oh my god, awesome. Was it perfect? It was so she had a Mandalorian headband, she had the red hair, it was perfect. And he is like, "Where'd you get that armor?" It's like, is this going to be the question you ask every time you meet a Mandalorian?
But with that conversation, it does make sense.
This was one of the Death Star sized bombs.
Yes,
that was dropped on this episode.
What was the male? Was it Axe Woves?
Axe Woves.
I loved how he says he's one of them.
He's one of them. So I have Bo, I have Katee Sackhoff for the win, and then I have a religious cult for the win. So the Mandalorian Din Djarin is a child of the Watch. So this is if you did not watch Clone Wars, Death Watch was a terrorist cell of the Mandalorians after they had gone peaceful. And they wanted to bring Mandalorians back to their warring ways. Survival of the fittest, kind of like Viltrumites from Infamous, if you will. Or I guess Infamites are kind of like Mandalorians, if you will. Anyway, so he's they're like, yeah, you're part of this cult, dude. We're actually real Mandalorians. This armor's 3 generations old. We are from Mandalore. And he's like, that's a cursed planet because they want to take it back. And he takes the kid and just flies off like a baby. Like, it's like anytime you have so you are religious, I am not. Mm-hmm. We get along just fine.
Yeah.
Just fine. I mean, I tease you when you pray before you eat, but
But also we're adults.
Yes. But this is like any conversation you have with someone right now who is like, I have this differing opinion. Well, I'm just leaving because I don't want to hear it.
Right.
Like it was a for something that was filmed almost a year ago, it was a very strange microcosm of what is happening at this very moment. Yes. So he flies away. And then what happens? He walks into a trap. You killed my brother. I didn't kill your brother. Well, we think you did. So now we're going to kill your pet.
Yeah.
How about we're going to kill you? And we're going to eat your pet.
Yeah. The fact that he walked into trouble like that.
Just with zero hesitation.
Dark and Doc. Dude.
You can fly.
I was going to say, you have a jetpack.
Door of the frog people.
And say, hey, can I just hang out here for a bit?
I know this isn't an Airbnb, but here's a few credits. Let me hang out for a day.
Yeah, until my ship gets fixed.
Yeah.
That simple. Fixed. But with that being said, and again, Bo-Katan to the rescue.
Yeah. The real Mandalorians come in and save the day.
Watching them fight, it just shows the difference between him, because again, my nerdness. I'm reading The Way of the Samurai.
Yeah.
And one of the things they talk about is grace, and what grace is efficiency.
Right.
And that was
the way they just efficiently take these dudes out.
And that's what I wrote down here is like how graceful they are in their efficiency because she's like, he didn't kill them. He didn't kill your brother.
Yeah. I killed him. Yeah.
And now I'm killing you.
I mean, can we take a second just to respect the fact that anytime Katee Sackhoff is in any of these genre things, she is a 100% badass. Even on The Flash when she played
Aminette Black.
Aminette Black. With her shitty British accent, she was still a badass.
Yeah.
Because, she was using the metal and, she was metal bending and all that
metal
fun
bending
stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, Katee Sackhoff, if this season ended today, I'd be like, can we just... I'm going to make the same comment I made about the Bionic Woman 15 years ago. Let's replace the main person, Mandalorian, with Katee Sackhoff.
Yeah.
Michelle Ryan, the Bionic Woman, should have been killed. Her memory should have been put into Katee Sackhoff's Bionic Woman, and that series would still be running today. Well, maybe not today, but it would have ran for more than 12 episodes. Let's replace bitchy little
Din Djarin /
Well, let's just say Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
And with an actual like actor, adult, like superhero.
So, my thought is, I think we talked about this in the premiere.
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant's character.
Yeah, why not?
And now you have Bo-Katan with, again, Katee Sackhoff. Absolutely love her.
Right.
Absolutely love Katee Sackhoff. Right. And it was funny, this morning I was, again, as I do, I watch reactions, and one of the reactions were like, I love these new characters, but I don't want them to, overshadow the Mandalorian. And I was thinking, actually, I kind of do.
I love these new characters. Yeah. I don't want them to be brought down by the Mandalorian.
Yeah. I want more of them, honestly.
Yeah, I would much prefer to see them. So, they have a heist, as is in, there's always a heist with these people, like,
what do you mean these people?
I mean, these pirates.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of what they do, honestly.
So, I will say, seeing, do I still have it out? Oh no, I put it away. The troop carrier, the Imperial troop carrier. I love that ship, the one that can hold the ties underneath it.
Right.
That's what they were on, and it was stocked to the gills of Mandalorian weapons, so they wanted them back. So the whole idea was they were gonna go and they were gonna pirate this ship,
reclaim what was
theirs. Titus Welliver as the Imperial commander.
Okay, okay.
I love that guy. I don't know if you watch Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, absolutely.
But the season when they went, the half a season when they went to Belfast.
Yes.
And then the following, I guess, 8 episodes where he was like on the run it's the best stretch of that show because he is such a great villain.
Him.
Yeah. He's amazing. He's one of the best, like, oh, that guy actors.
Right.
But like not just like, oh, that guy. It's like, oh, that guy fucking kicks ass.
Yeah.
So he's the Imperial
commander.
And he
Bosch too?
Yeah. So, yeah, he is Bosch. So he's Irish as well, I do believe. So, or English, something. But he, they're going through everything and it's happening, and the Mandalorians get on the ship after Jen decided to leave the baby with the frog people.
So he did not take the baby to this mission.
So I guess where you go, he goes is a lie.
Absolutely.
That is not the way. And, yeah, so they go through, and I think Den represented himself well. Like he did some really cool outside the box thinking stuff. It showed the power of the Beskar armor. I thought that was one of the key takeaways from this. Is like, why is everybody always after this?
Now we see.
And like, I mean, because he just walked down that hallway and he was like, ding, 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 ding.
And there was they had a repeater blast.
I love that sound effect, by the way,
yes,
of the laser blast hitting the Beskar. And he blows everybody up. But the coolest thing is they go to take the cargo bay and they lock them in the control room. And the guy's like, we have them locked in the cargo control.
Where?
And Titus Welliver's like, where? And then as soon as he says where, they get just flushed out into the atmosphere. That was really cool. And then when the Imperial commander reaches out to Moff Gideon, he's like, we need backup. And he's like, well, if this is the people I think it is, and I know they're after me.
Backup ain't going to help you.
Yeah, backup.
It's over.
Yeah. You know what to do. So, as the Mandos are making their way through the ship, like they're trying to crash it into the platform. You know, and they get there and they kill everybody. Say, like, you know, Titus Welliver's left, the Imperial commander, and then he does the equivalent of a cyanide pill with the electric suicide tooth.
Is that something that's been in books?
I've never seen that, but that was the coolest effect because it was like, so if you remember when Palpatine was shooting Vader with lightning and you saw, you didn't just see like the interior of Vader, you saw Anakin's skull.
Yeah.
Right. You saw like the whole half of his skull as he bit down on it, and it was like so cool.
Yeah, that was something they did when Gamora fought Nebula in Guardians.
Yeah,
when that's a pretty cool effect.
Yeah, that's a really, really cool effect. I thought that was great. You know, so they save the ship, and then like, all right, we're gonna go, and they were just gonna take him with them. They were gonna take Din with them,
right?
And he's like, well, no, I gotta get this kid back to the Jedi, and you know. This is my other problem with The Mandalorian is he's judgmental. He's not curious.
Mm-hmm.
So he judges anyone he sees who because he always asks, like, I'm looking for people who look like me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. But what about the people who do look like you? And then you immediately judge them instead of saying, so what is it that you're after?
So I will say this, that it based on the conversation about the watch, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because zealots of any kind,
right?
If you don't fit in this little box that they proclaim to be, if you're outside the box at all, you know, they kind of dismiss you almost.
And I'm also going to say, knowing that the Children of the Watch are a cult, I love the Armorer even more because she's a 100% cultist and a leader and a groomer of the cult, and I just think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I love Emily Swallow. I want to see more of the armor character. I would love to see more of the armor.
But you know, so he's like, well, I need to get this kid back to the Jedi, and so then we get the name drop of all name drops. Go to Corvus, go to the second moon, ask for Ahsoka Tano. Boom. Like it just the way she dropped it was great. Like, and you know, they're still friends, obviously. Because of what Ahsoka did with the siege and how she tried to help Mandalore. But yeah, this was a great episode.
Yeah. And the worst thing about this episode, like quote unquote the worst, it was like 30 minutes long.
Yeah, it's 33 minutes long in runtime. And so if you have ever watched it on Disney Plus, you know a 33-minute runtime is really a 26-minute episode because there are 8 to 9 minutes of credits.
It's like movie credits.
Because they do the credits for all the foreign voiceover stuff.
That's what they do on Netflix.
Yeah.
too.
So, but it's just so much of it. But I will say I still love the end credit scenes.
I love those.
But then he gets back to the Razor Crest, right? So the episode ends with him getting back to the Razor Crest, and it's literally held together by rope. And it's literally held together by rope. And so they're taken off, and like one of the squid creatures that was in the soup tries to attack the child. Like,
it's like, you ate my brother.
You'll pay. You ate my brother. I'm going to eat you now. And he just catches it. Like, you know, it's like, okay, like you have this level of awareness and perception, yet you continually walk into traps.
Which, that's actually perfect because
it's a trap. It's a trap. I don't think the Mon Calamari dock worker like tried to do that. I think that thing just snuck in because the Razor Crest is Swiss cheese right now.
Yeah.
But the episode ends with Baby Yoda eating the creature. So, I thought this was a good one. I was always going to be biased towards this because Katee Sackhoff. Like the minute she showed up, I'm like, this is my favorite episode of the show. But and Sasha.
Yeah, I was about to say, what about your Sasha?
But, dude, she's so good. She's a women's champ on SmackDown right now. She's in the Mandalorian. She looked great in the armor.
And some of the she did the acrobatic stuff too.
I think she did some of her stunts. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Like with the jetpack, the double kick with the jetpack.
Yeah, that was definitely her.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I just he has to get smarter. He just has to. Because, at some point, he's going to get killed, and they're going to peel that shiny metal shell off of him, and, that'll be it. I think that's the only way the show can end, is he does something stupid and gets killed.
Right.
That's the end. The Mandalorian was a good 6-year show, but it just ended abruptly when Din Djarin walked into
another
trap, and he just couldn't get out of it. Yeah. So
that's the one thing you would think. Going with the fact that he's a zealot, going the fact that he's untrustworthy, he's distrustful of people that don't look like him, and yet because he wants to find people that look like him, he believes what anybody says that I can help you.
Okay, so we are in the second half of the season, quote unquote. Is this because this was episode 3, right?
They're only 6 or they're 8.
Okay, so we're nearing the second half. Is this one of the changes that they made due to his pissing and moaning about wanting to see his face? Is he going to leave the cult and that won't be the way anymore? And then he can take his helmet on and off?
Interesting.
Will he join the real Mandalorians? Or will he stay a foundling?
That's really interesting.
Because that was the first thing I thought of when they said this is a cult. I'm like, oh God, this is kowtowing and bending to the knee to that little bitch.
Yeah,
because he's a little bitch.
Yeah, I would say.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Right.
So I feel like I do a really good job with him separating the art from the artist.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Just because he's a garbage human being doesn't mean he's not a good actor.
Yeah, and I have to do that with certain actors too, and it's fine. Look, you believe this, fine, okay. Yeah.
I don't care about it.
What do you do here, like in your profession? That's what I'm looking for.
So,
but
anyway, sorry, I did not mean it.
But I'll say this, and again, like because I don't have as much background, because I did watch the Clone Wars, but not to the level that you did.
You haven't watched it 5 times.
No.
All the way through.
So I don't know all the minutia.
That's the greatest rock.
I love that.
We need to get a soundboard with just that. Just like
I use that so much, and people just look at me like,
yeah. Like, I like to say I have 11% of a plan. I like to say that a lot too.
So how was Death Watch kind of portrayed?
I mean, they were terrorists.
Yeah.
So then when they helped Maul conquer Mandalore and unseat Sabine, who was Bo-Katan's sister, who was Obi-Wan's, one true love, and Bo-Katan was part of Death Watch, and then she saw the way that wasn't right, and so, Even when they talk about Death Watch in Rebels, like there's still like a splinter of it out there.
Right. So were the Death Watch, did they take their helmets off?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they took Pre-Vizsla took his helmet off all
That's
the time.
What I thought.
So no, this is new. This is after the purge, after the fall.
This is a
of
splinter.
Mandalore.
Okay.
So no, I mean this is a completely new sect of it. That's why they're the children of the Watch. They're not the Watch.
So it would have been easier or more apt if in the history, and again, this might be in the EU somewhere, but I read a lot of EU, but not all this. But if that was an old initial way of the Mandalorian, and this sect is trying to get there instead of it being,
well, they're trying to get back to the warring ways. Is what they're trying to do. So, but they're trying to rebuild with foundlings and clans, and because I mean they have the clans and things like that. So like Sabine, right? She is part of Clan Vizsla. So she's a descendant of Pre-Vizsla. That's why she, was able to, have it's not why she was able to wield the Darksaber, but like her family, had it, and then she turned it over to Bo. And so I will say, like my initial projection, all of the Bo-Katan stuff was going to be flashback.
Yeah, that's what.
And I'm so happy that it's not.
Yeah,
I'm so happy that
and
it's
again,
not.
It makes me want Bo-Katan in this role more than. Well, just all 3 of them, because I loved how they worked together. Yeah. And again,
but I mean, that's how they do it. Like when you watch, like go back to Clone Wars season 7.
Oh yeah.
And watch as the Mandalorians and Ahsoka and the clones are making planetfall.
That was,
and not just watch, like, I mean, obviously watch how Ahsoka does it because that's the way, but watch how the Mandos fly like through the ships and around, and they the way they work together. Even the bad ones, even the Death Watch ones, they are very, very skilled warriors.
Kind of puts me in mind of Spartans, like from
they very much are, like, I mean, you watch again, sticking with season 7, when you watch the way that Rex and Ahsoka make their way to the hangar in the last episode. You know, that's very much like the Mandalorian fighting technique paired with like the Jedi fighting technique, which was, you know, again, much of that, like I'm only as strong as the person to my left who I'm protecting. So
yeah, so that's one of my favorite parts of this episode is just watching them work together and just wreck shop.
Yeah. Lay the smackdown, if you will. It was boss time. So goddamn Michael Cole. Anyway, no, I thought this was the best episode of the season. But because it moved the story so far,
that's
so fast.
The biggest thing to me is the fact that, you know, I love the whole adventure aspect of the one-offs of the Mandalorian, just because, again, Jon Favreau's writing, and it's so well done.
Right.
But the fact that we get those nuggets of, okay, why does Dan have his helmet on?
Yep.
Go to this planet, find Ahsoka Tano.
Yep.
Getting Bo-Katan, she's looking for the Darksaber. All these things together, is just, it's 27 minutes of film. It's amazing.
I think Bryce.
It's amazing.
So Bryce Dallas Howard directed this episode. She is. So I saw someone on my Facebook wall was like, "Oh, look at this family of Star Wars storytellers," and it was a picture of Ron Howard and Bryce Dallas Howard. And I want to say, well, one of them should take a step back. Oh, Ron, that's you. Or which one of these is a Star Wars storyteller? Take a step forward. Not you, Ron. So it's not that Solo's Solo's not a bad movie.
No.
It's just. It's a mess.
You're right.
And that has nothing to do with Ron Howard's
I was about to say, it's not his
ability
fault.
to do a movie. But like the Village the Village episode from last season, introducing Cara Dune was great. This introducing the real Mandalorians is great. And I just think it's a shame she's only done 2 episodes. Like Absolutely. I would like to see more from her. Peyton Reed, great. Like Robert Rodriguez, I'm not really. I don't know how psyched I am about a Robert Rodriguez episode.
Yeah, but like this,
so we're not going to see Ahsoka Tano. If we do next episode, it'll be at the very, very end because Dave Filoni is directing the 5th episode.
Oh, and
I think he's writing it. So,
okay. See, I don't know though.
That's his girl. Yeah, that he made her. So he created her.
So he's like, that's mine.
It's mine.
I mean, which makes sense.
You can have the idea.
He understands.
She is mine.
He understands the character, so as much as anyone. So
because they've already started retconning the Ahsoka book with stuff that they did in Rebels and stuff they did in the season 7 of Clone Wars. So, because he did not write that book. So.
All right. But man, this creative team behind this show is.
And my buddy Carlo made a really good point too. He said, Carlo. He said he's enjoying the look of this season better because it looks more cinematic. Last season it looked like a TV show, and I didn't really think about that.
Well, we've talked about that a couple. I've said that a couple times. It looks like a movie.
It looks like a movie, and I think part of that is because they've mastered the volume. And I did not spend this entire episode of what's real and what's fake because they were on water. There was no way to really do that. So,
I'm kind of glad that I didn't watch that, what you were talking about.
It has taken away a small fraction of enjoyment from the show.
Because if it's as interesting as you said it is, I would probably be doing the same thing.
It's such a cool thing. And more stuff is going to be made this way. It's revolutionary. It's revolutionizing filmmaking.
But that's just, every time you say the volume, I think of a MacGuffin from a TV show. We need to capture the volume.
The volume. We need the volume. All right. Yeah. Oh, hold on, wait. So, you were talking about we need to do a little thing at the end of each episode, right?
Oh, yes.
So, I have these things. It's called pod decks. If I can get it open.
Childproof.
Right. So it's interview questions. So I am going to shuffle them up. Damn. I used to be able to do the Pharaoh shuffle where it was 1 1 1 1 1.
I haven't shuffled cards in
it's been so long since I've done it. Okay, so here, cut the deck.
I wish I had my tomahawk. I'd have done a Bugs Bunny. All right, cut the cards.
All right, so I'm gonna pull off the top card, and depending on how stupid of a question it is, we're gonna answer it. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Ooh. See, I'm not one to eat a lot of weird things, but I would say probably the weirdest thing I've eaten, and this people are going to be like, really? Mussels.
I love mussels.
I love mussels, actually. Like, they just look so weird. Look like just a bunch of roaches on the plate. This is like, I went to Buca de Beppa's, Joe's basement. Probably like 15 years ago, one of my friends was in town from high school, and we went there for her birthday. Yeah. Which kind of falls in line with this show, what we were talking about.
Right. All right. So mine is, would you rather be the best player on a horrible team or the worst player on a great team? I'm always going to want to be the worst player on a great team because you don't get better by being the best player on a bad team.
And you don't go anywhere.
So I don't necessarily play to win championships, but like I like to win. So I would much rather be the worst player because you're only going to get better. So like someone asked me a while ago, like what's the most important thing to you, like with the job? Is it the money? Is it prestige? Is it the ability to advance? Or is it being a part of a team? And I said, hands down, it's being a part of a team because all those other things come with being a part of a great team. And of course he was like, oh, well, no, I just want to advance. It's like, well, that's why you are where you are. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think this is like, to what you had suggested. I totally forgot about these things until just now. So thank you, Pod Decks.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No.
So I think the inaugural live episode in the Nerd Den Studios has gone pretty well.
Oh, this is a little bit slice of nerd heaven here.
Daryl's gonna move to Ohio soon, and we can do this more often.
I might move in here.
I mean, there's room for a mattress in here now because there definitely wasn't before.
You're here in the middle of the night. Pew pew. It's like, what are you doing, Darryl? Nothing.
Quit touching my toys, Darryl. They're in a specific place, Darryl. So I did share a picture of the shelves, and one of the stormtroopers had fallen over. And my buddy was like, you need to fix that stormtrooper. I'm like, I did. I just haven't taken a new picture.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was Brad. Go check out Flying Pork Apparel if you want like cool shirts.
That's pretty awesome.
But anyway, yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye. The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati, with new episodes out every Sunday. You can find more information about the show online at infamouspodcast.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @infamouspodcast. You can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcatching app. If you're enjoying the show, consider giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or check out our Patreon at patreon.com/infamouspodcast for our new tiers and rewards. The Infamous Podcast is hosted and produced by me, Brian Tudor, with music provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. You can find me on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as @BrianTudor. So, whenever you're listening to the show, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is. And we'll see you next time. Later.